Hello dear students. In the previous class, we saw what is force and what are the effects of force. So in this class, we'll start from contact and non-contact force. So what do we mean by contact? When there is a physical interaction between two objects, it is known as contact. It means, suppose this is a table. On the table, there is a book. So you want to bring the book from here to this position, somewhere else. You want to keep this book from here to here. So what you will do, you will go here, you take the book, then you go here and keep it here. Okay. So whether there is a contact between your hand and the book. So you have applied a force on the book by keeping contact on the book. So that force is known as contact force. So when a body applies a force and while applying the force there is a physical interaction, there is a physical contact between two bodies, that is known as contact force. And this is one of the example. This boy, this is a boy and this is a dumbbell. He is doing exercise with the help of this dumbbell, by using this dumbbell. So this boy is holding the dumbbell. This boy is holding the dumbbell and applying a force to the dumbbell. So as this boy is holding the force and he is applying some force, this force is known as contact force. Okay. On the other hand, when there is no physical contact between two bodies and still force is applied, it is known as non-contact force. For example, gravitational force. Okay. Now suppose this boy will throw this dumbbell in the upward direction. Then this dumbbell will move upward. Why? Because this boy has applied some force on it. Now, due to the gravitational pull, the dumbbell will automatically move in the downward direction. So as you can see, the gravity or the earth is trying to pull this dumbbell towards itself. But there is no physical contact between the earth and the dumbbell. So this kind of force is known as non-contact force. So in case of contact force, there is a physical contact. In case of non-contact force, there is no physical contact between two bodies or object. Okay. So here, now we know that we cannot see the force itself. In the previous class we discussed that we cannot see force, we can only feel its effect, but we notice and experience its effect. We cannot see force, but we can experience its effect. These effects are produced by the forces of pull or push. So what is force? Force is nothing but the effect of push or pull. This one I have already explained in the previous class. In all kinds of pushes or pulls, we must apply the force on a body either directly or through some contact. So the application of force, it may be pull or it may be push, whether we can directly push the body or pull the body, or with the help of something we may directly push or pull the body. For example, this is a carom board. Okay, this is the striker. These are the dots. What you are trying to do here? You are trying to hit the dots. How? With the help. Are you directly hitting the ball? No. Here you are hitting the striker. This is the direct force. The striker will move and hit the striker will move and hit the dots. So basically your force from your finger is transferred to the dots. And what is the medium here? The striker is the medium. Okay, if you give a force to the striker, that is direct force, because you are giving a force to the striker, that is direct force. Okay, directly you are giving. The striker will carry the force or carry the energy that is given by you, and the energy will be transferred to the dots, so the dots will move. So basically the force what you have applied or the energy what you have applied on the striker will transfer to the dots indirectly. Okay, so sometimes force can act through distance. Sometimes force can act also through distance. Okay, so here we will study about contact force and non-contact force. Contact force: when force is applied physically through a direct contact between two bodies, it is called contact force. So it has to be a physical force. Physically, it should be contact. Suppose this example: this is a boy. He is holding this. Uh, I don't know what they call it. This is an instrument for exercise. So this boy is holding this one. Okay, so he is applying a force over this instrument, and he is holding it. He is physically keeping it. Okay, so this force is known as contact force because there is a contact here. Okay, you can see. For example, what are the contact force? Examples of contact force: muscular force, the force which is applied with the help of your muscle, that is muscular force. Frictional force are the example of contact force. Okay. Cycling, there are some of the examples of contact force: cycling, pushing, pulling the drawer of a table, kicking a ball, etc. are some other example of contact forces. So these are some of the contact forces. So contact force can be divided into three types. First one is muscular force. Okay. Second one is frictional force. Third one is elastic force. For now, just to remember the name. Contact force means if the force is applied by the physical contact of the body, then it is known as contact force. There are three types of contact force: muscular force, frictional force, and elastic force. Now, what is muscular force? If the force is applied with the help of your muscle, here you can see here. Frictional force: if the force is applied by the surface of contact, that is frictional force. We will see about this frictional force in the coming classes, and about this elastic force also we will study in the coming classes. Okay, so this is all about contact force. The second one is non-contact force. When force is applied without a direct or without direct physical contact between the object, they are called non-contact force. So in case of non-contact force, the force is applied, but there is no physical interaction or physical connection between the bodies. For example, this is a magnet. When you bring a small nail near the magnet, what the magnet is going to do? The magnet is going to pull the nail, pull the nail towards itself. Okay, so there you can see this is a nail. These are two nails. So when you bring another nail here, nearby here, so the magnet is going to pull it towards itself. So is there any contact between magnet and the needle? No, there is no contact. Still it is pulling it. So force is applied without having any contact. So this type of force is known as non-contact force. Okay. For example, a magnet can attract iron nails from a distance. So in the previous slide we talked about some distance force. Okay, so with some distance also force can be applied. So this is the one of the example. Magnetic force is therefore non-contact force. The gravitational force of Earth is a non-contact force. This one I have already given you the example. Force which attracts all bodies towards Earth. Now, as contact force is categorized into three different types. Now, for non-contact force, it can be categorized into four different types. First one is magnetic force. We have seen the example of this one, magnetic force. Gravitational force, then electrostatic force, nuclear force. About this electrostatic force and nuclear force, you will study in your higher classes. Okay, so for now, just remember its name. They are named. So non-contact force, there are four types of non-contact force: magnetic force, gravitational force, electrostatic force, and nuclear force. Okay. The electrostatic force, which can pull tiny bits of dry paper, is also non-contact force. So let me give you an example of electrostatic force. Every day you comb your hair, is not it? So you take a paper, tear it with small pieces. It should be very tiny pieces. Comb your hair, okay, and bring the comb near to it. So what will happen? This comb is going to attract the small pieces of paper. You can do this experiment. Okay, you just comb your hair. In this case, your hair should be dry. If your hair is wet, it is not going to work. If your hair is dry, you comb your hair. Okay, take a small piece of paper, tear it with very small, tiny little pieces of paper. Comb your hair, and then bring the comb near to the paper. It is going to attract it. So this kind of force is known as electrostatic force. In the higher classes, you will study about electrostatic force in more detail. Okay, so let us continue. Now, types of forces. There are different types of forces having different sources and properties. Some of the very important forces are described below. So first one is muscular force or biological force. This one we have seen here. You can see here muscular force. So from here we will start. So muscular force, it is also known as biological force. This can be one short question, that which force is also known as biological force. It is muscular force. It is a contact force. Yes. The force applied by the muscle of the body is called muscular force. For example, while lifting the school bag, you apply force using the muscles of your arm, and you can feel the strain on your arm muscles and as you lift the bag. So whenever you are lifting the bag, look at the boy. He is having the bag. How is holding the bag? With the help of his palm, by using his muscles. So this is muscular force. When you let the bag go down, your muscle relax. We need to apply such muscular forces all the time. So why this muscular force is applied? Where? To push and pull things, to squeeze water out of wet cloths, to chew food, to walk or run, anywhere if physical activity is involved, anything that requires physical activity, there muscular force is used. Animals, birds, insects to apply muscular force to move around in so many different ways. So animal, birds, insects, all these things move from here to there. That is why. How do they move? By using their body. That means by using their muscles. Oxen use muscular force to pull a bullock cart. Similarly, a camel uses muscular force to carry people and loads across the desert. These are some of the examples of muscular forces. Okay. Now, second type of force is elastic force. What is elastic force? When we stretch, twist, or bend a certain object like spring. What is stretch? Stretching means elongation, like this. Stretch. Twist. This is twist. Okay. Twisting. This kind of force is known as twisting force. Bend. You know what is bend. Certain objects like spring, rubber band, or sponge, their shape and size changes. So when you pull it or push it, compress it or twist it, its shape changes. The force which act is called elastic force. Some example are twisting of a wet cloth. So after bathing, we always twist our wet cloth, then we let it dry. Pulling, this is pulling. Stretching, a spring from both ends is stretching, you're stretching it. Pressing a sponge. So all these are examples of elastic force. Now, electrostatic force. A very small detail about electrostatic force is given here. The force exerted by electrically charged body is called electrostatic force. So the body is should be electrically charged. As I give you one example earlier, that when you comb your hair, the comb becomes electrically charged. That is why whenever it becomes electrically charged, it pulls the small pieces of paper. Okay. This force acts from a distance, therefore it is a non-contact force. Okay, so electrostatic force, it acts from a distance. That is why this is a non-contact force. So this is all about today's class. In the next class, we will start from frictional force. Okay, so you revise it well. In the next class, we will start discussing from frictional force. Okay, so thank you and have a nice day.